Welcome to my studio. I am Lesley Ann Robinson of Knit Graffiti Designs. Today I'm going to walk you through the br4 stitch decrease. Okay, so this is probably by far the most challenging of all of the brioche decreases. And I don't want to say it's difficult, it just is a lot of steps. So I'm going to break it down for you step by step in this video tutorial, and hopefully it will give you the confidence that you need to kind of memorize the steps, or just watch this video over and over again. So if you're not familiar with the br4 stitch decrease, this is a brioche decrease, and it's done with the brioche knit stitches, and it is a 4-stitch decrease, as the name says, but it involves 5 stitches. So you're basically going from 5 stitches down to 1 stitch. And this is a center decrease, and it looks gorgeous on the fabric and creates a very clean look. So it can be found on several of my patterns, including the one I'm wearing. This is my brie ornament sweater. So you can see here at the bottom of each brie ornament, that is the br4 stitch decrease, because this sweater is knit from the top down. You can also find this decrease in my Rebel 2 shawl, and I'll show kind of an up close. So this is my Rebel 2 shawl. There's a lot of the decrease in that pattern, so it's a really good one for practicing. Also my Sizzle Pop shawl, which is another great way to practice this decrease. And also my Golden Willow shawl. So this is kind of a larger overall pattern. You can see the decrease is here. I'll show kind of a close-up. It might be hard to see. I'm like trying to find it. Like, where is it? So here we go. I will show you how to work the br4 stitch decrease. I'm going to show you how to work the br4 stitch decrease here on this swatch that I started. I created the swatch for my shawl pattern Fading Roses, and here you can see the br4 stitch decrease on the fabric. Okay, so you can see that it's a center decrease, and the center stitch goes all the way up the fabric. And the rest of the stitches, kind of go behind the center stitch. Okay, so you can see here it's kind of in this it's made this pretty pattern that I wanted to look kind of like a closed rose before it blooms. So I'm going to show you here on these 5 stitches. Okay, let me kind of separate them a little bit. Okay, so kind of ignore this stitch, because this is kind of the YF slip one yarn over that we're going to work before the decrease. So we're going to work with these 5 stitches, okay, and I'm going to call them A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, so A, C, and E are all brioche stitches, okay, so you can kind of see here's the slip stitch and here's the yarn over. If you can't see the yarn over, I'll turn it around so you can see those are brioche stitches. And B and D are single stitches. Okay, so we're going to go from 5 stitches down to 1. And before we start this decrease, you want to make sure that you have a tool with you, okay? So I like to use these split ring markers. This one is by Coco Knits. I love these stitch markers so much. Clover also makes them. They're perfect for using with the br4 stitch decrease. Okay, if you have a locking stitch marker, that will also work, or a cable needle. Basically what you want to do is place a stitch on hold for a little bit. Okay, so I love these because I can slip them on my work, you know, like this, and then they're there waiting for me when I need them. So I can just take it off on the row that I'm going to be working a br4 stitch decrease, and it's there waiting for me. I don't have to like dig in my bag, for that too, which I do that too, So I'm using some scrap yarn that I had. So this is by Hedgehog Fibers in the colorway Zephyr. This is their sock yarn. And this is some Madeline Tosh Merino Light in a very discontinued colorway, Fragrant, which was like one of my favorite colors. And I was very disappointed when it was discontinued. But anyways, I digress. So we're going to work a YF slip-one yarn over first. And I'm going to show you in my own knitting style, and I hope it can be translated to your own knitting style. The concept is the same no matter how you knit. So I'm going to work a YF, yarn forward, slip one yarn over. So remember, you always have kind of that set up before you work brioche stitches. So I'm going to place my needle in. What we're going to do is we're going to slip A and B knitwise separately from our left hand needle to our right hand needle, okay? So I'm going to slip A knitwise. I'm going to put my needle in as if to knit both the slipped stitch and the yarn over, so it's like you're brioche knitting or barking. But I just want to slip that off from my left hand needle to my right hand needle. And you want to make sure that you twist it, okay? Because when you twist it, it will lay correctly on the fabric when we're done with the decrease. And then I'm going to do the same thing with B. This is a single stitch this time. Place my needle in as if to knit, but just slip it off. So I'm twisting it again. And now we've come to C, which is the center stitch. And we're going to grab our stitch marker, slip it through both the slipped stitch and the yarn over, and I'm just going to slip it off my left hand needle and let it hang down to the front. Okay, so we just want to forget about it right now. We don't need to worry about it. So now we're going to just knit D. And you'll see my yarn is coming from kind of far away. That's totally fine and normal, and it will tighten up once you're done. So you can see now I've wrapped that stitch. That was the kind of the setup, the YF slip one yarn over. So now I have my worked stitch on my right hand needle. I'm going to pass B over that stitch. So this was the second stitch that we slipped. Okay, now I'm going to place my stitch on my left hand needle, and I'm going to pass E over. And you want to make sure you grab both a slipped stitch and the yarn over together and pass them over. You can pass them over one at a time. That's fine too. Just make sure that you pass the yarn over first and then the slipped stitch. So you want to make sure that it's laying this way on your fabric. So it'll be the slipped stitch on the left and the yarn overs underneath it to the right. I'm going to place my stitch on my right hand needle, give my yarn a little tug. And now we've come to A. This was the first stitch that we slipped. And we're going to pass that over. You want to make sure you grab the slipped stitch and the yarn over together. So now you can see why we twisted it, right? So that the slipped stitch is on the right hand side and the yarn over is underneath it, so that it's laying correctly on the fabric. So now we're going to take the stitch that's on our marker, stitch C, and we're going to place it on our left hand needle. And you want to make sure that you're not twisting the stitch here, okay? So place it back on your needle exactly as you took it off. Okay, so in the slip stitch will be on the left and the yarn over will be on the right. Okay, it needs to look like this for it to look correct on your fabric when it's done. Okay, so now we're going to take the worked stitch, put it on our left hand needle, and we're going to pass C over. So this is one of the final steps. We're going to grab the slipped stitch with its yarn over, pass it over, and then place our final worked stitch on our right hand needle. Okay, so that's it. I mean, it seems like a lot of steps, and it is. I mean, it took me probably 50 times approximately working this decrease until I had memorized the steps. Okay, so remember, take it slow, be kind to yourself, and just go step by step. You know, it's just a bunch of stitches stacked on top of each other. That's basically what it is. So, you know, just think about it that way. It's just a bunch of steps. And as long as you follow the steps that way, then it will look just exactly like this. So I hope that this has been helpful. And, you know, when you go and work back with your contrast color yarn, we know when you finish the row, you'll just work this as a slip one yarn over, okay? So there's nothing special to be done with that decrease once you've worked it. Okay, so yeah, if you like this video, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be creating a lot more tutorials like this, especially brioche tutorials. And yeah, if you like this video, please leave me a comment. I love feedback, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.